What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Saturday special here at Total Sports Talk Beyond the Lights, where I'm your host, Matthew Reardon. We're going to do things a little bit different today. Normally, we sit here, we're going to talk about, preview the upcoming games for college football on Saturday because, well, that is a passion of ours. But I want to share another passion that I have, and that is UFC, mixed martial arts. Today is UFC 307. I can't believe we've had this many pay-per-views so far that here we are at 307. I remember watching UFC 100 with Brock Lesnar. I mean, how far we've come is just insane. The sport just continues to evolve, but you also still have fighters that have been there for such a long time that have established themselves as all-time greats. And well, there's no better way than to start this by talking about one of those. So let's talk about the main event of the prelim fight, and that's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. And Wonderboy Thompson, he's got to be probably the most friendliest fighter that you will meet in UFC. This guy is always smiling, always seems to be so positive that it's just contagious. It makes you wanna smile, it really does, but he is one heck of a fighter. He'll be the nicest guy to beat you up. That's the best way to put it, is that he'll have a smile on his face. Not that he's enjoying what he's doing to you, but he just is always happy. This is gonna be an interesting fight because Wonder Boy he's 41 years old. He has been in the sport for a very long time, but he's still amazing. He's still great at what he does. He has perfected this artwork of his, from his karate background, kickboxing. He's a legit fighter still, even at 41 years old. He's gonna be facing off against the young buck and Joaquin Buckley, who is 30 years old, which that's my age. But Joaquin Buckley has also made himself a great name in the UFC. He's gonna be going against a legend here. I don't know how much longer Wonder Boy is going to be in the UFC. For all we know, this could be his last fight. He has faced off against some of the greatest in the welterweight division. His last fight against Shavkat, what was a very close fight. It really was. But ultimately, Stephen Thompson did come up with the loss, but he still has enough left in the tank. But if he wins this fight, I wouldn't be shocked if he retired. I haven't heard much rumblings yet because he's still very youthful. He's a very youthful 41-year-old fighter, but uh, I just at that age, he's accomplished so much. He really has, and in all honesty, it would take probably a fight win streak to even fight for the title at this point. So it could be close. It could be close here. I think Wonder Boy comes away with the win in this fight. He is the underdog in this fight because he is facing off against a very young and vibrant fighter in Joaquin Buckley, who's a baller. I mean, this guy is going to stand in front of you. He's going to brawl. He's going to bring you a great fight. But I just think Wonder Boy is going to. He's methodical. He really is. He is a very smart, high IQ fighter. That's why I think he's gonna come away with the victory in this fight, and I hope he does. I have always been a fan of watching Stephen Thompson. He is an all-time great. He is a class act. So in this fight, I would expect him to come away with the victory. It's probably gonna go all 3 rounds, so it's gonna go to the judges' scorecards for a decision, but I think that ultimately he'll come away with the victory here. The next fight, and this is going to start the main card. And it's Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison versus Caitlin Vieira. I feel bad for anyone in the UFC that they put in front of Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison is a judo Olympic champion. She is as legit as they come. It's kind of unfortunate that she started off pretty late in the UFC. I mean, she's 34 years old. Not saying she's old by no means, but it would have been nice to see her there sooner. Kayla Harrison is a monster. If you saw her debut against Holly Holm is a big UFC fighter already for the women's division. in the UFC, but Kayla Harrison was a mountain compared to her. I don't even know how she made the weight. I'll be completely honest for bantamweight. It's beyond me that she was even able to make that weight. She's big, she's strong, and she's dominant. She was dominant even before the UFC, and she's going to be dominant in the UFC. It would have been nice to see her face off against someone like Amanda Nunes, who is regarded as the women's GOAT of the UFC, but she is retired, so that is a fight that we will not see most likely. But Kayla Harrison is a tremendous fighter. Like I said, she's got a judo background. She's an Olympic champion. She's going to be a UFC champion before we know it. I say if she wins this fight, I would not be surprised if she gets the next shot because of just her past and how much she brings to the UFC already. Would not be shocked if she gets a title fight here. She is the biggest favorite on this card by a long shot. She's a minus 1100, I want to say, favorite. So as you can see, the bettors are shifting her way tremendously. One of the funny things that I saw going into this weekend was a video of they were talking about Henry Cejudo doubting her, and her dig back was that he was just so salty because she's got more gold medals than him, which is true. It is true. She is very accomplished with just her past in fighting, but I just thought it was funny because Henry Cejudo, as you know, Triple C Olympic gold medalist. He's won the title in 2 divisions, so he's also as legit as they come to. But they have a nice little relationship there and jab match. But expect Kayla Harrison to dominate this. I would not be surprised if this fight ends in the first round. It almost ended in the first round against Holly Holm, ultimately ended in the second round. So she's most likely going to finish this early on. Like I said, I feel bad for anyone they put in front of her because she's just gonna smash Hulk smash pretty much. So I got Kayla Harrison first round finish here. Sorry, Vieira, but it's just how they matched it up. You are a great fighter as well. Do not take any offense to this whatsoever. But Kayla Harrison, all the way. The next fight here, the King of Rio, Jose Aldo versus Mario Batista. It's Jose Aldo. What makes this one interesting is this fight's taking place in Salt Lake City. It is kind of a bittersweet moment for Jose Aldo because this is actually where he retired. If you don't know, Jose Aldo is one of the most accomplished UFC fighters that we've ever seen, and he retired just a couple years ago in the same venue that this is being taken place at in Salt Lake City. And he decided that he wanted to come back for some more. He came out of retirement, and he is here now facing off against a younger opponent in Mario Batista. Eh, I don't know what Aldo is trying to accomplish from this point on because he's already accomplished so much. He was long regarded as the featherweight GOAT. He just did so much for the UFC. He was a champion for such a long time and was one of the most dominant champions for such a long time that he's already had a Hall of Fame career. So why he needed to come back, I don't know. He's already proven every point there is, but he still has fight in him. And that's, I guess, what he wants everyone to know. He still has that fight left in him. But he's going to be facing off against a younger Mario Batista who has also made a name for himself, who is a really is a scrapper, essentially. And he's even surprised that Jose Aldo took this fight. But in the end, I mean, Jose Aldo he is the king of Rio. He has done so much, and he's still very talented. I can see him winning this fight still. I really can see him winning this, even though he is the elder. He is, slowing down a little bit, moved down weight classes, but I expect him to have that experience advantage to win this fight. It may go the distance, it may not. It's kind of unpredictable in this fight how it's going to go. I hope he wins just because he has been around for a while. That it'd be nice to see him pull this one out. And I mean, he surely is. Only a couple more fights left till his second retirement. So we'll see if that happens here. On to the co-main event. Uh, Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. Fans are gonna hate. Fans are gonna hate. They aren't really looking forward to this fight. I kind of see why. Ever since Amanda Nunez left, it's been kind of shaky on who's going to fill those shoes. After all, she was the GOAT for women's UFC. And Juliana Pena probably had the biggest upset of all time when she defeated Amanda Nunez when they first fought. It was honestly incredible because it's almost like I've never seen a fighter fully predict what they were going to do, like Juliana Pena said she was going to do. Like it was to a T. She said she was going to tire her out. She was going to stand up and bang with her, and she was going to let her opponent exhaust herself out until she was able to get the finish. And she did that. She did just that, where she let Amanda Nunez get tired. She was exhausted because, as you know, Amanda Nunez, she is a very big UFC fighter. She was another one of those that was really surprised in how she was even able to make weight because she is very big for the two weight class that she was in, the two weight class that she was a champion. And so it was very surprising that she was even able to make weight in both those weight classes. But Juliana Pena, she came in, she had a game plan, and she stuck to it. And that was what's incredible is when you have a game plan like that, you're able to stick to it. It's a recipe for success. Pennington, she's been around for a bit. She is very well accomplished, and she picked up where Amanda essentially left off because she vacated the title. Pennington won it. So it's going to be a interesting title defense. What makes it more interesting is Juliana Pena. She's been absent for 2 years. Her last fight was the rematch against Nunez, where she did lose. So she going to have that rust? I don't know. Usually, when a fighter's off that long, they do have some rust. But the great ones, they adapt and they are able to come back just as strong. So we're going to see if she is that, if she's able to back that up. Uh, I fully expect this fight for the most part to be up on, standing up. And Juliana Pena pretty much doing what she did the first fight against Nunez is just try to tire her opponent down, striking, connect with the jab, all that. But it's hard for me to bet on her because of the absence and how she's going to be after losing the belt. It's been 2 years, so we don't know. So, with that being said, I'm going to have to go with Pennington in this fight. I think it goes all 5 rounds, and I think she wins by judge's decision. And for the final fight, the main event, Poeton Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. What makes this fight kind of interesting is that a lot of people didn't expect Roundtree to get the title fight. I mean, he is, after all, the number 8th ranked light heavyweight, if I'm correct. He is a great fighter, so I don't want to say that he's not deserving. It's just we didn't know that he was really going to get this fight, but he did, and he is a great fighter, Muay Thai fighter. But Alex Pereira, man, I don't think I've ever seen a fighter with the rise to stardom so quick like him. He came into the UFC. Yes, he was a very well accomplished kickboxer, so I don't want to discredit that. But coming to the UFC is totally different. Some people do not succeed going into the UFC after they were successful in another venture. Him, however, came into the UFC. and almost instantly was fighting for the title against Israel Adesanya, who he beat. So it was just so quick. He beat him. He did have a title defense against him where he did lost. It was the first time ever that he's lost to Izzy. He was 3-0 against Izzy dating back to kickboxing. So that was big, but he moved up in weight class because if you've seen Alex Pereira, how he made 185 pounds is beyond me. I mean, he was fighting at that weight class on fight night, weighing at around 225 pounds, which is 40 pounds more than what he weighed in the day before. I don't know how the human body even allows that. I just don't know. But Alex Pereira is a humongous human being. He's 6'4". It was only natural that he moved up to 205. I mean, shoot, he could even fight at heavyweight with how big he is. And that may be foreshadowing something there. But he moved up to light heavyweight, won his first fight. It was not for the title, but he won his first fight. It was a split decision. But after that, he had a title fight, won it, and has yet to lose ever since, as he has beat Yuri Prohashka twice. He has beat Jamal Hill. He's just as legit as they come. I mean, he is on that path to being one of the greatest to ever do it in the UFC. I honestly think he is on that path. You could put him on several people's Mount Rushmores almost up until this point. That's how good he is. Does he have a weakness? Yes, wrestling. But the thing is, though, is that he's not fighting anybody that's even trying to wrestle. Khalil Rountree has yet to even attempt a takedown in the UFC. So once again, it's like, oh, here we go again. Another person that's going to try to stand up with Alex Pereira and once again get knocked out. That's how I see this fight. No surprise there. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I see Alex Pereira knocking out Khalil Rountree and add another one to the bag because that's just how these fights end up. He is just so strong. He's got the heaviest hands I think I've ever seen. His left hook, which is his infamous shot, has knocked out many, many people, and everyone knows it's coming, but yet they can't defend it. They can't stop it. He's just that good. But it's not just that he's good at. His calf kicks, his leg kicks are out of this world. If you've ever watched Joe Rogan talk about him, he'll tell you that it's the most amazing thing ever because you can't anticipate it. You know they're coming, yes, but you can't see them coming. He is so nonchalant with it. His body is just so squared that you don't anticipate it, a kick to be coming, and he just throws them out there, and they are strong, they are brutal, they will take you out. We saw it with Yuri. Yuri could barely walk, he could barely put weight on them. There's only so much leg kicks that you could take. I don't care if you have all this muscle in the world on your legs, and Khalil Rountree does have a lot of muscle on his legs. He has to be able to check those kicks. If not, he's not going to be able to walk by round 2. So that's why I'm going with a second round knockout for Alex Pereira to retain the championship because, well, that's how it seems to be going. I I don't think I see a 5-round fight pretty much ever for him. Yes, there was the one against Izzy was so close, but he's just he knows how to really knock down his opponents, figuratively and literally, because he chops at their legs. They can't walk, so they don't really know how to defend anymore. Should I try to defend the leg kicks that I could barely feel at this point, or should I try to cover up my head? Well, eventually they get knocked out by that left hook. I see that happening again here. So once again, Alex Pereira, second round knockout. That's how I fully expect this fight to go. But I want to hear what you guys have to say too. Let me know in the comments here your predictions, what fights to watch, because this is actually a really, really great card. It's being taken place in Salt Lake City, which is high altitude. I do want to note that that is very important. This fight's being taken place at about 5,000 feet elevation, which is a different environment for a lot of fighters. But you are seeing more and more where fighters are having their training camps in Colorado and some of the higher altitude areas to adjust to it to try to build your lung strength. So we'll see if anyone gets well gassed in these fights because it's not taking place in the normal venues of Las Vegas or Anaheim or even New York where you're pretty much at sea level there. So that is something to keep of note there. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a little different because we are usually talking about college football here, which we absolutely love. But this is another passion of mine too, and I hope it's a passion of yours. And if it wasn't, hopefully maybe I'm able to get you there someday. So if you need any help, get trying to get there, I will be glad to help you because it is a fun sport to watch. I've been hooked on it for many years now. I was your typical kid who grew up watching WWF, WWE, and got tired of it because I wanted something more real. And then I turned on UFC. I watched Matt Hughes, I watched BJ Penn, and I was hooked from the get go. So maybe you guys can be too. I would be glad to help. But appreciate you tuning in, guys. And until next time, I am rounding third. And guess what? I am headed for home.